The first time I ever picked up a basketball, I was immediately infatuated. I would spend hours in the musty basement dribbling between old Barbies and babies, and nailing the ceiling with the ball at my imaginary basket. Meanwhile, I could hear the footsteps of someone upstairs coming to yell at me every day, and every day was the same routine. All of us has had an experience in our lives that have drastically changed it. Whether it was small or big, good or bad, we will at some point in our lives fall in love with something or someone, and if you're lucky, sometimes both. My name is Reed, and today I will tell you a little bit about myself in regards to basketball. The way my family supported me, the amazing friends I've made, and how basketball will continue to affect my life. I was born and raised in a small town in Iowa. My parents were in high school when I was born, so I had quite the hectic upbringing. I rotated houses almost every day, and it was between my grandparents, both sets, and my uncle. So as you can tell, it was nothing short of family support. Although I had a multitude of family members, we didn't have a lot of money. When I was 4 years old, I had 2 presents under the Christmas tree. One was a nice church dress, which I tossed to the side, and the other was my very own basketball, and that's when it all began. Because my parents were always working or at school, I had an endless amount of babysitters. My aunt was my most common babysitter, and she took me everywhere. Every day, I went with her to her high school basketball, volleyball, and softball practices and went to every single game. I was incredibly mesmerized by these simple games and have been ever since. The most tragic day of my life was when my parents decided to move away for better job opportunities. I was taken away from my family and was put in a different school. For a small child, that's scary, and for me, I'm very shy, so it was even worse. But one thing my parents did do was sign me up for basketball immediately when I got there. The court was my home away from home and my comfort zone. I always had someone to look up to and people supporting me. Now that I've talked about the love and support of my family, I will tell you a little bit about my other family, or most people refer to them as friends. Ever since I was in middle school, I've kept the same friends and added some amazing ones along the way. Throughout high school, my basketball team was also my family. Of course, there were certain ones that I bonded with better, and they are part of my life still today. After high school, I thought it would be a good idea to try and get away from basketball. I made it through one semester of college before realizing it was the worst idea of my life. Coach Huckey gave me an opportunity to play again, and I've been back on the court ever since. Along the way, I've met some of my best friends, and they will always have a special place in my heart. I have one specific person in my life that I met playing the sport, and his name is Walker Lindy. Although he plays baseball, we met scrimmaging during practice. Ever since then, he's been my best friend and other half. He's been my biggest supporter, other than my family, and encourages me to put everything into the sport. Since these are my final months playing the sport, it's an amazing experience going through such an emotional time with the people I care about. Everyone here will meet someone in their life that they will love for the rest of their life, doing the thing that they love most in the world. Since ball is coming to an end for me, I will talk about how it will continue to affect me throughout the rest of my life. For the past couple of years, I have been coaching for an AAU basketball team called Minnesota Wave. I am able to teach and impact the lives of young women and young women to admire the game just as much as I do. I am also able to coach and help out my little sister's basketball team. I will always be somewhere near the game, even though I won't be playing anymore. Nothing is ever taken away from you. It will always be right there if you want it to be. I will always have a special place in my heart for the sport that has brought the people I love most into my life, and I will always be thankful for that. Everyone in your life will be supportive of you if you give them a reason to. Just seeing how happy a person can be doing what they love most makes me enjoy it too. My family, friends, and future players will forever be important to me, and I will never forget them. It's important to strive for something you love. It is absolutely life-changing, and it will forever impact you and the people around you. I have convinced a lot of people in my life to do what they love because the amount of passion I show every time I pick up a ball. I will always be that little girl that spin moves around the Barbie dolls and slam dunks into the ceiling, no matter how many times my grandma and grandpa would yell at me. Basketball will never be just a game to me. Any questions?
How old were you when your parents had you?
How old age was I?
Or how old were your parents? Sorry.
My mom was 17, my dad was 16. Any other questions?
How many years did you live with your grandparents?
7.
How old were you when you moved to Byron?
7-ish. I just turned 8. Was going to turn 8, I guess. Any other questions? Okay.